Hello everyone. I hope you are well today. Thank you for tuning in. Let me just adjust my camera ever so slightly. There we go. That is much better. I hope you are well today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are watching on the replay, give me a hashtag replay in the comments so that I can loop around and say hello to you afterwards. I would love to be able to do that. So please do let me know if you're tuning in on the replay. This session is all around UK business and coronavirus updates. This is my daily live stream happening weekdays at 11 a.m. UK, where I am covering off everything that has happened over the last 24 hours around the government, the banks, the economy, and all those things. So I'm just going to make sure that I have all the chats enabled so that I can see everybody as well, and I can answer any questions that you may have. If you do have any questions, please do let me know in the chat box. I am happy to answer those. Hi Barry, how are you doing? Hello there on Periscope. I cannot pronounce your names because I cannot read Arabic, but thank you so much for joining me. I do appreciate it. Hello Addison, hello Mohammed, hello Millard Group. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I very much do appreciate you tuning in with me. If you are new to me and you do not know who I am, my name is Annette Ferguson. I'm CEO of Annette & Co, UK-based accounting firm. I am a chartered accountant and certified Profit First professional, and I help business owners take home more money from their business for them and their families to enjoy. Of course, at the moment, Charlotte is telling me there is no sound. Charlotte is... can anyone else let me know if you have no sound? I need to know if you have no sound. So if anyone else has no sound, please do let me know. Sound is back on for Barry. Okay. Looks like I maybe had a temporary blip in sound there. So hopefully, Charlotte, yours is back at your end as well. Good morning, James. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for joining me. So hopefully sound is working for everybody. So I will just recap what I went through. This is my AMs with Annette, 11 a.m. every weekday, covering UK business and coronavirus updates. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am Annette Ferguson. I'm CEO of Annette & Co, UK-based accounting firm. I'm a chartered accountant and certified Profit First professional. I help business owners take home more money from their business for them and their families to enjoy. Of course, at the moment, that can be incredibly challenging, which is why I decided to start doing these daily lives to support you both during this time and, of course, beyond. So we are covering today UK business and coronavirus updates. Good morning, Yahya. Good morning, Charlotte. Charlotte saying she can hear me again. Wonderful. Good morning, James. Good morning, Lexi. Good morning, Carson. Good morning, Bluehost Review. Thank you so much for tuning in. Good morning, Hannah. Good morning, Mina. Thank you so much for joining me today. I do appreciate it. Now, as we're going through any questions, please do let me know in the comments and I will answer those as well. Sweet Mango is saying, is this my live podcast? So in terms of the podcast, to answer that, this will be posted on the podcast afterwards. The podcast is Uncover Wealth Radio, so this audio does get taken and put on the podcast as well. So if you go into iTunes or any other good podcast player, you will find the podcast. You can search Uncover Wealth Radio and that will come up so you can listen there as well. There is some exclusive content on the podcast as well. So it is not just these streams that are there. There's other exclusive content for business owners on there too. So please do feel free to do that once this live is over and check it out. Good morning, Matthew. Thank you for tuning in. Good morning, Cambridge Sewing. Thank you for joining me today. So first off, the self-employed scheme for the grants for self-employed people, SEISS, that has seen over 110,000 people in its first morning applying, with over 340 million claims being made within the first few hours. So an incredible amount of people in the first morning there. Now, with this system, you are allocated a date and time to log in. It's somewhere between the 13th and the 18th of May. If you are unsure of what your date or time might be, or if you are eligible, or not, then you can head over to the Gov website, and if you search for SEISS eligibility, you can put in your UTR, your tax reference number, and it will tell you your allocated date and time. If it has passed, you can apply straight away. If it is in the future, we recommend that you wait until that time slot. The reason that people have been allocated dates and times is to avoid overwhelm on the system, to avoid it crashing. So that is why. But claims are to be paid out by May the 25th. And it is estimated that around about 3.5 million people are eligible to claim, which is why they don't want everyone logging on at exactly the same time, because accountants cannot do this for you. It has to be the taxpayer. This system is not being set up to enable accountants to claim on your behalf. So that is a big thing with this. Now, it has been asked if this system will be extended in the same way that furlough has been. The Chancellor has said these two schemes are very different, and there is a lead time that employers need to make employment decisions with a 45-day consultation period for redundancies. That makes us think that perhaps it may not be extended for self-employed people. So that is something to watch out. The amount is being paid as a lump sum for a 3-month period. So 7,500 is the maximum that you would be able to claim and that you would have coming in a lump sum towards the end of May into your bank account for that. There are also, of course, 2 million self-employed people, we hear around about that figure, who are not eligible. That will depend on the date they started self-employment, for example. They may be above the profits threshold, or they may have other sources of income in previous tax years, which mean they are unable to claim under this as well. So around about 2 million people who are legitimately self-employed who have been left off and been unable to claim anything under this system, unfortunately. Any questions, do let me know in the comments. I am going to have a little look at the questions here. Good morning, Holly. Thank you so much for joining me from Iraq. I do appreciate you tuning in. Holly's saying they don't have a tax system. That's incredibly interesting. And also that I seem too professional for a TikTok live. I think I'm going to take that as a compliment, Holly, but thank you all the same. Lovely. Okay, any questions that we have coming through here, please do let me know. I will be looping back and answering questions as we go along. Barry is saying, well, I have to wait till I'm back in employment after furlough to apply for a mortgage. Good question, Barry. I am actually going to be speaking about the mortgage industry later in this live, so I'll cover that off then, Barry, if you don't mind. But yeah, I'll be speaking about the mortgage industry and how that's working at the moment. So the government has stepped up to back trade credit insurance. This is to ensure that the market doesn't seize up because of this crisis. Trade credit insurance is basically a safeguard, and it safeguards companies against the risk of the customers going bust, basically, and not paying for goods or services that they've ordered. It covers around £171 billion worth of business activities in the UK, covering 13,000 suppliers and around 150,000 customers. So an incredible number there covered by this. The government has stepped in to support it. Insurers were warning against huge claims and people were struggling to get their insurance renewed and things. So they have said that they will do that to help the economic recovery of the country. Similar schemes are set up in Germany, France and Canada as well. So the UK government doing that as well. To step in there all around the trade credit insurance industry. The Chancellor has said yesterday, the Chancellor made an announcement that the UK has fallen into a significant recession. Now, officially, a recession is in the UK. There's different definitions for different countries. But in the UK, the official definition of a recession is 2 consecutive quarters of contraction. However, since we have seen already a contraction for Q1 based on what happened at the end of March, and that was only for a few days we were in lockdown at the end of March, I think we can reasonably assume that Q2 we will see a massive contraction as well, and therefore will be in a recession. And he has said significant recession was his words. I also spoke a few days ago about the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, and the Bank of England, both saying that we are going to be having the worst recessions for over 300 years. And then kind of backtracking a little bit and saying, actually, that was an optimistic view they were holding at that point in time. And it's actually going to be worse than that. So that's going to, that's obviously going to impact us significantly in the future. Yeah, absolutely, Holly. Recession is 2 quarters. The US, I'm not sure what the US definition of a recession is. I don't even know if it's based on quarters. I think it might be based on percentage contraction. But in the UK here, it is 2 consecutive quarters. And since Q1 was now, as a result, as I say, of lockdown happening on the 22nd, 23rd of March, and that was only a few days in that quarter, then we are going to expect that we need to, plan for a significant recession happening after that. I am sorry, Dandy, that you do not like my camera angle. I am actually working with 3 cameras at the moment, which is why this one that you are seeing on TikTok is a little bit of a strange angle. I actually have 3 set up. So that is, I'm sorry that it's not optimal for you there, but that is why I'm multi-streaming at the moment on a number of devices to a number of places. So there is now 70% of firms that have placed staff on furlough at the moment. We are hearing that that's over 7 million people, over 7 million employees, and that is that 70% of firms actually have staff on furlough. Of course, the Chancellor announced the other day that what will happen is that the furlough scheme, the job retention scheme in its current form, will be extended to the end of July. Then from August to October, there will be a kind of hybrid method whereby employees will be able to come back to work part-time and be part-time furloughed. And what will happen there is that the employer will have to make a contribution and the government will make a contribution. They have said that the fine details will be announced later in May. They have not been completely ironed out, and we'll work out what that is. So that is what's happening on that side of things as well. Aldermore research shows that the crisis has resulted in 34% loss of income for many SMEs, and that 39% of owners have adjusted their business to adopt. I'm interested in this figure of 34% loss of income for many SMEs, and I would love, if you are running a business, for you to let me know in the comments if you have had a loss of income as a result of this situation. I would have thought that for SMEs, that percentage would be much higher than 34% having suffered a loss in income, because we're not quantifying that loss. That is just any loss. And therefore, I feel like the research from Aldermore, based anecdotally on what I am seeing, maybe shooting at a lower percentage. They are also saying, of course, that 39% of owners have adjusted their business to adapt. That is also similar to the stats that we saw the other day around people adapting, tweaking their business, changing their business as well. So that is good that people are managing to adapt, are managing to pivot slightly in order to keep their business going and in order to generate revenue as well. James is saying, my wife started her new business, which is under 12 months old. Is it correct that she's unable to claim anything? James, is your wife operating a limited company or a sole trade? If she is, in terms of claim anything, if she has a premises, she's able to claim a grant. If she has employees, she's able to claim furlough. She is able to, of course, apply for a loan, potentially a bounce back loan for her business. She will not be able to claim under the SEISS, the self-employed scheme, if she is self-employed and her business is under 12 months old. That is, that's where that sits. So if you let me know a little bit more detail, James, about what type of business she's running, what that looks like, then I can assist you better and being more specific to her particular circumstances as well. Good morning, Janet. Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, Sapphire. Thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Good morning, Angus. Good morning. That guy did what? Interesting username there. Good morning, Emily. Good morning, Mel. Good morning, Andy. Good morning, Mohammed. Good morning, Sarah. Good morning, Thomas. Good morning, Summer. Good morning, Iris. Good morning, Swim for Fun. We have a lot of people hopping on, so thank you. I do appreciate your time. As always, I appreciate you tuning in. So we are hearing that Barclays has offered loan delay compensation for people who have applied for bounce back loans from them. Good morning, Patrick. Thank you for tuning in. So Barclays has offered loan delay compensation for people who have applied for bounce back loans and have not received them yet. Of course, the bounce back loans were intended to be paid out within 24 to 48 hours of applying. We've heard over the last few days in my live sessions that Barclays have come under increasing criticism for delays in paying out those bounce back loans to people. They are now offering a loan delay compensation of the hefty sum of £100. £100 compensation for delays in thousands of pounds worth of lending for over a week now. Whether or not that seems appropriate is, of course, up for debate, but that is what they are offering at the moment. Retailers are saying that they fear they are going to face a significant PPE bill. Of course, this won't just apply to retailers. This applies to anyone who is bringing their workforce back in, manufacturing, construction, pretty much any industry where you are bringing the workforce back into a setting. There is going to be a significant PPE bill as a result of that. There is going to be, protective equipment, cleaning, additional cleaning services. There's going to be potentially things like signs, signage, working out flows so that people do not double back on themselves in an enclosed environment. All those kinds of things are going to significantly cost businesses. And of course, these are businesses who have had to close, who have had reduced revenue, who've got reduced income, reduced profits, and now increasing costs at the same time, potentially have taken on debt as well, of course, not having to repay that right now, but that is another burden. So there's a lot of financial strain on many, many businesses at the moment as well. And the PPE bill is included in that. So, for me, that leaves the question of, for some businesses, even when they are told to reopen, will this additional cost mean that actually it doesn't make sense for them? Will it mean that actually they would be loss making if they actually put social distancing in place? They would be loss making if they implement all the PPE requirements. And therefore, are we going to see businesses just shut up indefinitely as a result of these extra costs that are being layered on them as a result of the measures that we need to have in place in order to keep people safe? That is going to be, that's going to be a big, big question. And there's a big question mark over that as well. I'm going to take a drink of my tea while I have a look at your comments. James, you said your wife is limited. You said, sorry, limited company. She's self-employed. So technically, James, she's not self-employed. She's running a limited company. She's not self-employed. She's a director of a limited company, which is why she's not able to claim under the self-employed scheme, because in tax and company law, as a limited company director, you are not a self-employed person. Now, I know this is really confusing because, for example, if you apply for a mortgage, they treat you as self-employed. If you even apply for universal credit, weirdly, you are treated as self-employed. But under tax and company law, you are not self-employed if you're running a limited company. So what she would be entitled to is she'd be entitled to furlough herself if she has been set up on payroll, and if she is not working, if she's only doing the statutory legal requirements in terms of filing accounts and taxes and those kinds of things, but no other work allowed. No premises, of course, no grant on that side then. Now, what we do have are depends where you are in the country, but some councils are able to issue discretionary grants to business owners. So there are some discretionary grants available. Those were announced at the beginning of May. However, many of the councils are saying, we don't know anything about this. We haven't received the funds from central government, and we don't know actually how this is going to work and how we're going to pay these out. worth having a look at your local council website for anyone who has not been entitled to a grant, the grants that are based on premises, to see if your local council is offering anything for you instead of that system, if you are unable to claim under that system. So James, that might be one for her to check out, but that is about the only thing that is going to be available for her, unfortunately. The final thing I want to speak about is it's a rather interesting, maybe it's kind of geeky funny for me since I'm an accountant, but I'm sure some of you will have heard of the phrase EBITDA, which is how people report earnings, how big businesses particularly report earnings. Although, smaller businesses do as well if you're looking for bank lending in traditional sense. So EBITDA is earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. That number is kind of freely quoted for many, many companies, the EBITDA number. However, what we've started to see are a number of businesses starting to quote an EBITDAC. And the C stands for coronavirus. So earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, amortization, and coronavirus. So we are seeing PLCs, big businesses, saying, okay, we're going to adjust our Q1 reported profits for coronavirus to show what the books would have looked like had we not had state-mandated lockdowns. This is a work of fiction because, one, you can't really know what they would look like. Two, you're never going to get that revenue back. So it's never actually anything at all other than a made-up number. So it's really interesting that some companies are feeling the need to put this number out, and also, the effect that might have on the markets, investors, all those kinds of things, because it is a work of fiction. It's a completely made-up number. They can guess what the effects of coronavirus are, but they don't really know. They don't really know what the last week or 2 weeks in March would have held for their business. And it just seems fictitious. It seems a very odd fictitious number to be even publishing. So very, very interesting there that that's happening, but maybe that is the accountant geek in me. So hey ho. I appreciate everyone who's tuned in today on all platforms. Thank you so much for tuning in. Any more questions, please do let me know in the comments. I would love to have any more questions that you have. Oh yes, mortgage. Did I miss the mortgage bit? Let me see. Where is, here we go. Yes, I did. So, here we go. Government are announcing measures to reopen the housing market in England, of course. So the mortgage market is springing back into action and surveyors are now able to enter homes. We are hearing that the loan to value amounts that mortgage lenders are going to be offering is going to be changing. So some lenders have already moved up to giving around about 85% loan to value from 75. There's going to be others joining in the next few weeks. It's expected that many lenders will start giving 90 to 95% LTV for mortgage purposes. Now, in terms of, Barry was asking about applying for a mortgage whilst on furlough and whether that will affect it. Honestly, Barry, I'm not massively the best placed person to answer that, and your mortgage broker is probably much better to answer that. But typically what happens when you apply for a mortgage, you have to show that you can afford it. There's an affordability check. And if you're furloughed, there will be, I suspect, a question in the mortgage company's mind of whether you will ever be taken off furlough and reinstated to a full job, or whether you will end up being made redundant. I suspect that is, what the mortgage companies might think. I can't read their minds, of course, so I don't know for sure. And a mortgage broker is the best person to be able to answer that. Of course, with the housing market reopening, they are now working again as well. So we're seeing, they'll see an uptake in business. So it's worth speaking to your mortgage broker about that, Barry, and seeing what their view is on it. But that would be my view, is that, affordability checks will still be made, and they'll be made on your current level of income. You have to usually present bank statements, previous 3 months bank statements, payroll slips, those kinds of things, and they're going to show that you are on furlough. If you're on furlough, you have a higher risk of redundancy, even though you've not been given redundancy notice. Potentially, that is what we're reading. That is what we're hearing anecdotally, that those on furlough are at a higher risk of redundancy. Therefore, they may view you in a higher risk bracket, Barry. It's difficult to tell, in all honesty, but that's kind of the feeling that I have on it. So I hope that's been helpful, Barry, for you. We're also hearing that we expect over this time the cost to the insurance industry to be in excess of $200 billion worldwide. This is a forecast by the Lloyd's of London. They are saying that they're expecting the volume of claims to be similar to the levels that they saw during 9/11. They're expecting a vast number of claims, and they could have never have envisaged a time when people would be claiming at the same time worldwide. So it's quite an incredible strain on the mortgage industry on the insurance industry at this point in time as well. Barry is saying like a mortgage in principle. Yeah, exactly, Barry. So it's difficult to know how the lender will view that, and if they will view furlough as you being at a higher risk in order to agree a mortgage or even a mortgage in principle. It's worth speaking to your mortgage broker. They will have a much better view on the market and how that's operating than I do, because I can't see the mortgage market at all. So it's worth speaking to your mortgage advisor on that one as well. Let's see, what else have we got? Have we got any more comments? Any questions coming through? Let's have a look. Thank you so much for the follow, OGM Music. I do appreciate it. Lovely. Okay, I think we are good on questions on TikTok and questions on Instagram as well. You are welcome, Barry. No problem at all. Let's check Periscope and YouTube and Facebook and the Uncover Wealth community. Okay, lovely. I think I've answered all your questions. If you are not already a member of the Uncover Wealth community, I highly invite you to come and join me inside there. That is my private community on Facebook. That is the place where I have exclusive content in there. I do a training Tuesday every single Tuesday that goes into the Uncover Wealth community. Also, I announce any big government announcements that are going to impact businesses. I do announce them in there first as soon as I hear them. So the Uncover Wealth community is the place to be, to come and hang out with fellow business owners. You can just go to Facebook and type Uncover Wealth community into the search bar and you'll be able to find us and come and join us then. So please do come. Now, if you are watching on TikTok or Instagram, if you have just joined and you've missed some of this broadcast, you can check out the replay. I will put the replay on to IGTV, so you can check it out there if you are on Instagram or TikTok, or you can come over, of course, to the Uncover Wealth community and watch the replay in there as well. So there are a number of places you can catch it if you are just joining or if you missed the first section of today's session. So I am back tomorrow, 11 a.m. UK. I will be back again for UK business and coronavirus updates. So please join me, same time, same place at 11 a.m. tomorrow. I am also running my strategic chat session from 3:15 today. This is where you can come onto a Zoom call with me and ask me any questions one-to-one about your business. So please do register for that if you have not already. You can go to annetteandco.co.uk/strategic chats, or you can hop into the link in my bio in whichever platform you are on. You will see a button in there that says strategic chats, and you can register there and you're able to get the link to come on and ask any strategic questions, whether it's around financial strategy, business strategy, the finances, what you can claim, anything like that, you can ask on that session live with me on camera. So we'll speak one-to-one, not through typing or anything like that. You can actually ask me directly, and that is going to be at 3:15 today. So if you do want to join me on that, please do register ASAP so that you can get your spot for the strategic chats as well. Yes, I am that Ma. I am talking to everyone. So thank you for tuning in. I think that is everything that I have for you today. So yes, as I say, I am back at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Please do come and join me. I would love to see you. I would love to see you inside the Uncover Wealth community on Facebook as well. Thank you for tuning in. I know your time is precious, and I appreciate you spending some of it with me. Therefore, have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you have a good one, and I will speak to you all soon. Take care, everyone.